Glen Campbell remembered as one of the best voices of his generation. Country singer Glen Campbell has been remembered as an icon with one of music's finest voices. Campbell passed away on Tuesday in Nashville after a long battle with Alzheimer's. The musician recorded a string of classics including Wichita Lineman, Rhinestone Cowboy, By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Galveston and Where's the Playground Susie. Many of his biggest hits were written by Jimmy Webb, who toured Australia in June. Webb dedicated Adios to Campbell at the shows. The song became the title track of Campbell's 64th and final album, released in June. The album had been recorded in 2012 and 2013, with Campbell's failing memory requiring him to sing each song line by line. Webb called Campbell the American Beatle and highlighted his influence on generations and also on musicians over many genres. One of his favorite songs was Try a Little Kindness, in which he sings Shine Your Light on Everyone You See. My God. Did he do that or what? Webb wrote on his Facebook page in an emotional tribute. Just thinking back, I believe suddenly that the raison d'etre for every Glen Campbell show was to bring every suffering soul within the sound of his voice up a peg or two. Leave them laughing. Leave them feeling just a little tad better about themselves, even though he might have to make them cry a couple of times to get him there. What a majestically graceful and kind, top-rate performer was Glen on his worst night! Campbell went public about his Alzheimer's diagnosis in 2011, but had been suffering for several years and was already preparing to wind down his touring. His 2009 Australian tour was his final visit to these shores. Promoter Andrew McManus said Campbell's memory was starting to fail. It was the beginning of his Alzheimer's, McManus said. Some days and nights were more difficult than others. You could see he knew things were happening, he knew he was going to lose his memory, he was getting frustrated. His voice and guitar playing were still stunning, it was just his memory. It was very tough to watch, especially someone who is so iconic. McManus said most local fans knew they were seeing Campbell for the last time. Most people knew why it was his farewell tour. They knew he wasn't incredibly well, and yet he got standing ovations every night. Australians like to back the underdog, and he was definitely the underdog on that tour. When he did struggle a bit on songs, no one really reacted in a negative way, which was heartwarming. Another farewell tour of Australia was planned for 2011, with Kenny Rogers, but scrapped at the last minute. It was a long way for him to fly. His health wasn't up to it at that point, McManus said. But he was really the most humble, delightful man. He had a huge heart. You walked in the room and you felt comfortable and welcome. One of Campbell's early visits to Australia resulted in a TV show, Down Home Down Under, filmed here in 1976. Olivia Newton-John acted as Campbell's guide around Australia, while the country star sang tunes including My Boomerang 1T Come Back and The Wild Colonial Boy. Sherbet also performed on the special, with frontman Daryl Braithwaite singing Let Me Be There with Campbell and Newton-John. We were quite in awe of him, given all his songs and what he'd done in his career, Braithwaite said yesterday. That was a brief meeting, but it was great to say you got to sing with Glen Campbell. I always knew he was an incredible singer, but it's only been in the last 10 years I became aware that he was also one of the greatest guitar players known to mankind. Campbell sold more than 45 million records, had 12 gold albums and 75 chart hits. He also won 20 Grammy Awards. He co-starred with John Wayne in the 1969 movie True Grit and had a weekly audience of some 50 million people for the Glen Campbell Good Time Hour on American television from 1969 to 1972. An acclaimed 2014 documentary, ILLB Me, followed Campbell on his farewell tour and captured his struggle with Alzheimer's. A video for the title track of Adios features Campbell's daughter Ashley packing up her father's signature guitar and passing it on to other family members before his grandson Jeremy Olsen sets it alight and puts it in the ocean for a Viking's funeral. Ashley Campbell posted a tribute on her Instagram with a photo holding her father's hand. Heartbroken. I owe him everything I am, and everything I ever will be. He will be remembered so well and with so much love. In 2011, Campbell announced he planned to retire from touring. His wife Kim said at the time Campbell was still an awesome guitar player and singer, but added if he flubs a lyric or gets confused on stage, I wouldn't want people to think what's the matter with him? Is he drunk? A string of musicians used their social media accounts to pay tribute to Campbell. Australian country singer Keith Urban captured both sides of Campbell. What a powerful artistic and personal journey Glen Campbell's passage has been, Urban wrote. As a role model, singing guitar player, he was a big influence on me. His blend of genres created his own sound and style, and his ability to entertain wasn't limited to the stage. He blazed real trails through film, and especially television, where his charismatic Southern charm and personality fit perfectly. The night I won my first country music award, I got back to my hotel room and there was a fax on the floor. Welcome to the award-winning world, kid. You got it. Glen Campbell. Universal music, universal stories, universal spirit. No wonder he was a global superstar. I love Glen for so many reasons, but above all, for his humanity. My thoughts and prayers are with Kim and all of his extended family today. May peace be with you all. Go rest high on that mountain, Glen. Kim Campbell, Glen's wife of 34 years, said her husband stopped performing live in 2012. Glen's abilities to play, sing and remember songs began to rapidly decline after his diagnosis in 2011, she said around the time of releasing Adios. A feeling of urgency grew to get him into the studio once again to capture what magic was left. It was now or never. What you're hearing when listening to Adios is the beautiful and loving culmination of friends and family doing their very best for the man who inspired, raised, and entertained them for decades, giving him the chance to say goodbye to his fans, and put an amazing collection of songs onto the record store shelves. The album included songs Campbell had always wanted to record. One track, Postcard from Paris, features his sons Cal and Shannon and daughter Ashley singing with him. Webb said he will continue to pay tribute to him when he performs. While I can play a piano, he will never be forgotten. And after that, someone else will revel in his vast library of recordings and pass them on to how many future generations? Possibly to all of them. Glen Campbell's biggest Australian hits. 1965, Universal Soldier No. 16. 1968, Wichita Lineman No. 18. 1969, Galveston No. 7. 1969, Whereas the Playground Susie No. 17. 1969, Try a Little Kindness No. 3. 1970, Honey Come Back No. 7. 1970, All I Have to Do Is Dream No. 3. 1970, It's Only Make Believe No. 2. 1974,